expect in our 7 cities. If you are just joining us, we did record this morning's session. You can look at the schedule and you could go back and watch the morning's overview. We had a lot of people saying, oh, thank you so much. That really helped us to get a better understanding of what this event is. And we get it now. We understand how we can participate. Then we talked at the festival about what we're doing to give a really fun, amazing experience and showcase and celebrate the creativity of eyewear. And now we're going to break down into the business side of Eyewear Artwalk and give you an idea of what the expo is and what to expect. I'm going to actually open up my shared screen. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Charlene Nichols, and I'm really excited to be a part of this event. I've done events for 27 years of my career. I've been to all the major events, some in the US, some in other countries, and I've coordinated them, I've worked them, I've sold at them, I've participated in them, I've even spoken at them. And the events in this industry are spectacular. When we talk about the B2B sector, this is going to be exclusively available to the leaders and visionaries and people that want to really get a head start for the road to 2030. It's only 5.5 years away, 6 years away, 2030. As we look at 2023 and some of the major things that have happened in the world for businesses there, the kind of complete shift and change in the landscape of digital marketing, the spawn of virtual marketing, people all of a sudden realizing that there's all of these new narratives that we have to now understand, like AI and the Metaverse and Web3 and blockchain. And it's extremely overwhelming if you're running a business in this industry. Running an optical or optometry business is already a multi-layered experience. It is a metaverse. You are already in the metaverse if you run an optical business, because you have all these different sections that you are responsible for connecting. And if you're in the optometry industry, you can group that right on top of that. So we really respect all of these layers. And we've brought in leaders that represent true expertise in all of these layers. Shout out to Trudy Ture. She's going to be our keynote. We selected her for a reason. We were absolutely over the moon when she agreed to come and speak at our event. And like a true visionary and like a true creative, Trudy started mentioning things, gaps that she felt could be filled. And we approved her vision. And Trudy won't be doing one session during our event. She'll be doing 3 in all 7 cities. So it is super, super exciting to see her really take this opportunity to talk about things that we know that you guys are really starving to hear. How do you maximize your professional social media presence? How can we modernize our experience to welcome the Gen Z and millennial audience? How do we choose new virtual try-ons and technologies and all of these things? These are all going to be neutral conversations that will happen during this event. You'll have a lot of people there that have, walked the walk, and they're here now to share with you real, true stories of how they've implemented some of these modern technologies and how they're impacting their lives. We will be bringing leaders from outside of the industry. These are companies like Visa and like some of the other amazing companies that Trevor and his amazing team have been able to bring in to talk about merchandising, retail, trends, analytics, all the things that you really do need to know coming into this, next 5 or 6 years. And then after 2030, we'll be talking about 2040. If you're just starting out in this industry, you have a long way to go. And the next 20, 30 years is going to be completely peppered with technology. And even if you're, looking at that last 5, 10 years before you retire, you still have to run a functional business. So the main goal of this event isn't to give you a series of PowerPoints or even talking points. It's to really give you the tools to get immersed, to get hands-on, to get behind the scenes. This is, the speakers that are stepping up to speak at this event are really proving that we were right, that this industry is filled with visionaries and leaders and creatives. They have these talking sessions, CEs ready to go, talking about gaming and vision. Shout out to Janelle. I think Spina is how you pronounce her last name, Spino. Janelle created an amazing CE on gaming and its impact on vision and how to communicate with gamers. So you're not going to see the typical, sessions here that you're familiar with. We've gone a long way in really staying true to the narrative of art and fashion and music and film and eyewear. But to make sure that when we do put these CEs together, that you as an eye care professional, you as a business, you walk away with real things that you can use to have an impact on your daily, day-to-day business and your daily, day-to-day life. We've run this whole curriculum, this whole series, especially on the professional side, through champions. So when you see people like Dr. Vito Mena, Dr. Pam Theriault, Dr. Glenda Mohipeth, and so many of the others, Heather Harrington, these are professionals that currently work every day in the optical and optometry industry. They understand the challenges you have. They've walked a mile in your shoes, and they understand that right now, what you really need is just the tools to succeed, things that you can implement right away, not, hey, in many years, this is going to be something that might impact you, but what's impacting you right now? We have fun things like the Lab Symposium. So you'll see us curating events specifically to speak to segments of our industry, independent labs and labs in general. They're a sector of the industry that really needs an opportunity to get a true understanding of what the retail sector needs and even what the consumer needs, because they're the ones that are the starting point for a lot of the lens technologies. We talked earlier today, what are you interested about? And somebody said, finding about new lens technologies. So it's kind of interesting that even though we've seen the amazing, I was there when digital lenses were introduced. I remember when people said this will never be a part of the single vision design. And here we are now, almost no one's doing any conventional lens surfacing or lens manufacturing. So digital came in and was getting a lot of the same pushback that AI and Metaverse and those other technologies are. And now it's a part of, this is what today's consumer wants, the latest and the greatest. And to hear someone say in today's day and age, I want to see what the latest lens technology is, it shows us that people are still looking for simple solutions, like seeing their TV and reading their phone and playing pickleball and playing games. Before I go into the next segment of B2B, where we talk a little bit about what the, and someone asked today, what's the experience going to look like from a selling standpoint, from a booth standpoint? What can we expect if we're going to be selling our product there? I do want to address that. But before we do you have any questions? Okay. So I'm just going to go back to the map while we're here. And when we talk about the B2B side, so typically we talk about wholesale buying. So you expect with B2B to see an optician or an optometrist coming in to open up a wholesale account. We actually have some brands that are not participating in cities where they have full retailers, so they have full representation. They don't feel a need to go into those cities. But we have quite a few brands that, although they really aren't looking for additional retailers, they're still planning on coming to these cities to showcase their brand on the direct-to-consumer side. There's two sides to selling a product. One is marketing, and the other is sales. And there's a lot of things that fit into each of those categories. But marketing is probably the thing that is most desperately needed, not just in the optical industry, in every industry. We can't talk about B2B without talking about marketing. And as somebody who's has had a marketing agency for the last 7 years and was instrumental in marketing in my previous company, So much so that I was accountable for 60% of the business of my previous company. I am very well versed in marketing in this industry. And over the last 3 years, I've made it my point to learn how to do marketing direct to the consumer so I can help my clients. And I got to tell you, no matter how successful people have been in the past at doing ads and Facebook and Google and all these different things, you're going to definitely see a radical shift in how marketing works and the effectiveness of marketing. There's been a huge rise, which is great for security and privacy. And that's going to be very helpful to each of us as an individual. But as a business, it's going to put a lot more pressure on us to be creative at how we get our name out there. An event like Eyewear Artwalk is the only event that I know of where you could go out, tell your authentic story without any bells and whistles, without any crazy advertising and marketing spend. And just because the PR alone is really getting people's attention, there's this word you'll start hearing a lot, provenance. It's about the first, the beginning, the origination of things. This is the first ever eyewear festival in history. With that comes a lot of publicity, comes a lot of recognition. This isn't a part of our B2B conversation at this very moment, but I'm going to connect the dots in a minute. We've had music acts reach out to us to see if they can perform in these cities. These are people that are hearing about us because they simply Googled the word festival. And it's exciting because these managers are saying not only, hey, can I get my artist here? But hey, can you get my artist an eyewear collaboration? So these are celebrities, musicians, local and national. They're wanting to collaborate with the industry. We've had probably 10 that I could think of right now, creative B2B opportunities that have been designed and already launched since we started talking about this event. You've heard us talk about the example of Young Dirty Bastard and the Wu-Tang Clan and how he designed eyewear that helped him to tell his story. And he loved the name vampires when he understood that there were lenses that he could put into these frames that were clear indoors and turned into sunglasses outdoors. His way of expressing that was saying, wait, those are like vampires lenses. And, that's the brand that he's launching. But there's gamers and there's artists, there's people coming here that are going to want to collaborate, fashion designers, having Hive and Colony come because they want to participate in an event like this is really exciting. Because if you look at their website, Hive and Colony, you'll see that the very first thing you notice is a gentleman putting his eyeglasses on. Yet it almost looks like an optical site. But yet they've never done a eyewear collaboration, and they're excited to learn about how they could potentially collaborate with local optical shops because a lot of their clients are buying tailored bespoke suits and they might want a place to go to get tailored bespoke eyewear. So as far as the B2B opportunities, I hope I've given you a good enough overview. Now I'll just give you the basic meat and potatoes and answer some questions we've been getting. And while I'm doing that, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. So a lot of the questions we've received are, how does this differ from a traditional trade show? In a traditional trade show, it's expected that you're going to have, a sizable area where you can showcase your brand. If you're an eyewear company, that's a lot of what we're talking to. It's expected you're going to have trays of frames and displays of your frames. So you could sit down with a client and help them to select the products that they're interested for their specific store. That's pretty much the experience you're going to get in every single booth that you visit when you go to a typical trade show. But here, you're going to see some brands will only exhibit on the B2B side, which means they won't be seen by the general public at all. That's not where most of the brands that we're talking to are going. Most of the brands that we're speaking with are excited to showcase on the festival side. Now, originally, there was a lot of confusion about that. And, the common concern was, if I do get my name out there and I do try to help my local retailer community by showcasing my brand, will there be a perception that, that there's a conflict of interest here? And we've gone so far as to say, look, go to your local community and invite them. Say, come exhibit with us. While we're talking to more retailers and doing our wholesale business, talk to the general public. We've even had some companies tell us that they're going to invest in these cities, but they're not going to show up at all. They're going to send their local retailer there. So there is a lot of opportunities here that are outside of the norm. However, our industry is very creative. That's why we did appeal to your creative side, because we know that you guys are capable of coming up with new and innovative and creative business models. And at the end of the day, when it comes to the B2B conversation and the B2B narrative, that's the ultimate narrative of Eyewear Artwalk, is that it's really, really, truly time to reimagine how you do business, whether that's physical, digital, virtual, or even in the metaverse. These are tools that you have now that you never had before. I want to leave you with this. If we think about one of the first innovators of e-commerce, it was Warby Parker. They were the first company to come out, and they got a lot of pushback, and a lot of people said it'll never work. No one wants to buy their glasses online. And now the dominant way that people buy their glasses is through e-commerce channels, believe it or not. So when we look at the metaverse and virtual commerce, which is where people will go into a social media channel, they'll showcase their product, they'll use a virtual try-on. Shout out to Fitting Box. I see that we've got someone from their team. So you guys know full well that virtual commerce is becoming a real thing. There's a hunger for this at the general public's level. That's why we're including them, so you can really see the opportunities that are there. And this is an opportunity for you. Oh, okay. Stephen is with us, so I'm going to bring him to the stage. I'll wait for Stephen to join us.
Sorry, had to change some settings on my phone. Hey, everybody.
Yeah. So, Stephen, I'm really glad you joined us because you have exhibited at trade shows before, and you've also done an Eyewear Artwalk before, and you had a vision for this. Talk to the audience that's listening about, well, the B2B experience.
Sure. Out of necessity, Eyewear Artwalk has come together, and that necessity is brought on by the passion and industry of the creative people in our business. CEOs who want to grow their business, eyewear sales reps who want to expand their business as well in their market reach, and creative types who are the designers, and all of the industries that support us in that endeavor. So I think you summed it up great, Charlene, when you talked about collaborations. Because if you have, for example, a retail business and you want to get well known in the community, walk down the street and find a business you can collaborate with. I did this for my retail shop in California. We found a clothing store that was a very unique boutique. We did fashion shows with them. And many of you have already thought about doing this or even have done it. These are great ways to express to a community that eyewear is important. Align yourself with different businesses that are akin to serving the consumer that you serve. Secondly, collaborations with music. When musicians come and they find out that I know how to make eyewear, they say, wow, hey man, I have a million fans, and I've been thinking about launching an eyewear line. How does it work? So there's another collaboration opportunity. If you're a manufacturer, if you are a distributor in the United States, how do you expand your market share? The tradition of going to the same old places and doing the same old thing is changing right before our eyes. So Eyewear Artwalk presents a collaboration where we can start working together, friendly competitors working together to expand the awareness, not just talking about, hey, we're independent, or hey, we're banding together, but more than that, doing things together. You already see collaborations with brands happening from designer to designer. You see collaborations in distribution models. You see collaborations everywhere, and they're creative people who are thinking, how can we do what we should be doing right now? Eyewear Artwalk is the catalyst to encourage you to meet and greet and start those collaborations on all fronts. Invite your retailers, if you're in the distribution business, to be at Eyewear Artwalk. Encourage them that you are going to have your fans, the fans of your product there, that they are going to ask, where can I get it? And you can drive business to that retailer or all your retailers. You get to decide how you best can serve your business using all the tools that Charlene has talked about. So that's the exciting part for me, Charlene.
Well, and you made me realize I had this conversation with someone the other day because they were emphatic. I do not sell direct to the consumer. I said, of course you don't, but you do sell to the consumer. You just sell through your retailer. I'm sure when you design the product, you have the consumer in mind because opticians don't wear all the glasses they buy. So somebody else is putting them on their face, right? And it's not these opticians and optometrists. It's the people they're selling them to. So you are already thinking about the consumer the moment you design a frame because you know it needs to resonate with them. Now, in our industry, typically we sell 3 sales instead of 1 because in order for you to sell B2B, you have to first make a sale at a trade show or in a store and say, hey, decision maker, buy this line. They bring the product in. Now another sale has to be made by the person who just bought that line to the people who sell it and say, hey, of all the options you have, sell this particular product for this particular reason. And even if that sale is made, now you're 2 sales in. Now you have to do the final sale, which is to the consumer. And you have to convince the consumer, after all of this, please buy this frame. So instead, by marketing direct to the consumer and getting them to fall in love with your product for all the right reasons, they can go in being sold and asking for that product. And I tell you one thing right now, you will never see an optician argue with the customer when they say, I want this product. They will go through heaven and earth to find that one frame, even if it's discontinued, even if it's not made anymore. Stephen, can you talk? I see you smiling. Can you talk a little bit to this phenomenon?
Yeah, that's the space that I live and work in every day. I have a collection of eyewear that historically is made in the 1980s that collectors have sunk their teeth into and has created a massive demand for some of the more limited edition pieces. This is not something that the brand was marketed for in the beginning, but because of the creative nature, it just happened. This is not every eyewear collection. And each of us may have a subset of our products that we offer like that. And there will be collectors at this event. More important than that is the market value and the brand recognition value that you sometimes can't even get consumers to acknowledge, even when you pay millions of dollars for it, to have something like that. And again, going back to the idea of collaborations, this is going to help everybody to achieve their personal goals, to collaborate with other companies, and to become a more successful brand for their own markets, even if it's only B2B. Now, we do have a lot of opticians who are excited about coming to look for new product lines. In the traditional sense, that's what we distributors inside of this each market want. And for each city, we are seeing that people are coming from outside the city based on not just the geographic, but sometimes they're busy. And if they can't be in LA in April, they'll be at the next installation at a different city in the following months. So don't think that it's just for the geographic market. We will have people coming across state lines to attend the different cities.
You bring up a really great point. Sometimes people are busy. We've had people that normal, and don't forget, people fly from LA to New York and to Vegas all the time. We only have 2 major shows, and shout out to the major shows because having done this, I have more respect for them than ever before. This is not easy. And, a lot of the people that we're talking to, they've never been to a trade show, a lot of them. So they're very excited. A lot of them are saying, look, we're going to shut down our office for this weekend because it's the first time ever we could bring our whole office to a show. And we really want the person working the front desk to be just as passionate about their job as the person who's, buying the frames. So you have to really think about the fact that everyone can be included in this. When you're working in this industry, it doesn't matter what job you do. It's not easy. It requires a lot of patience, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. And, you learn something new every single day. 27 years, I learned something new every single day. And I'm sure, I'll let you leave on that note, Stephen. Do you still learn something new after all these years?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I encourage everybody, come to Eyewear Artwalk and renew your passions every time, because you're going to learn something no matter how long you've been in this business. It's going to be really exciting.
So I'll be leaving on that note. We'll be at the table if you have any last minute questions. And if you'd like to sign up, please go to eyewearartwalk.com. Our team will be happy to help you. I saw some of you registering at the early event. So thank you. I guess we did this so that for those of you that have been coming and signing up, we've seen a lot of you on the website. In case you had questions, you were being a little shy maybe, we wanted to make it easier for you to get to meet us. And it seemed to work because a lot of you did sign up. So we still have spots open. We'd love to have you join us on tour. We'll see you in LA.